Tricollori to pull up into his first nose over. Ladies and gentlemen, the Royal Air Force Chinook Display Team 2019. Give them a big wave. Back downwards, they make their 90-degree breakaway to our left. This year, the Chinook display captain is squadron leader John Turner, known as JT. He joined the Royal Air Force in 1993 and was posted to RIAT twice in 1998. His boat operations in Bosnia, Sierra Leone, Iraq and Afghanistan, and most recently in the Caribbean in 2017 undertaking hurricane relief support. You look out before pitching over into the roller coaster. Crowd centre before climbing again, while some days battling this 15-ton beast being buffeted by the wind. Joining JT in the cockpit today is 2019 display co-pilot Flight Lieutenant Aaron Terry. Aaron joined the Royal Air Force in 2008 and was subsequently completed his rotary flying training. Joining the Chinook Force in 2015, he has seen operations in the Middle East and more recently returned from Operation Newton in support of our French allies in Mali this past April. Get ready for 20 shortly. We also carry vehicles, freight and palletized cargo both inside and outside of the aircraft. Captain's best overall is in a medical emergency response, a role which supports the field under fire during Operation Eric in Afghanistan. Down to our left leg, that's our look through and now positioning to their crowd centre nose over. Time to get your cameras ready. If you want to capture 35 degrees nose up. The display you see today really demonstrates how manoeuvrable this extremely large helicopter is. Most of the display is all out of tactical skills deployed and perfected on operations around the world. During all of these manoeuvres, the co-pilot's job starts to really hear the sound of the aircraft. Looking out the front to the top side view, you'll get a great angle of this awesome machine and its unique contra-rotating blade design. Next, as you see the aircraft run left, the nose will pitch up as JT decelerates the aircraft, looking to enter its nose down for a stop. Maneuver allows us to stop the aircraft in a tight area and increase the spot space on the back. Rotates the aircraft at the ramp low, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's everybody's favourite time. Give those orange hands a big wave. It's crazy! The carriage today will start to take effect. Now you're taking. Thank you joined the Royal Air Force in 2009 as a weapons systems operator. These are the two weapons training to join Navy. Afghanistan and more recently Mali, and around 1,100 hours. In a big way, you can see here. Please don't forget to post your. I must also say my goodbyes. It's been an absolute pleasure to display for you here at RIAT today, and we're looking forward to the rest of the weekend. Our sincere thanks must go out to all the event organisers, the Flying Control Committee, and most of all of you that have come out to watch our display today. If you'd like to know more about the team or our RFO, please do follow our social media outlets under Chinook.
12 countries became the founding members of NATO's North Atlantic Treaty Organisation. They were Belgium, Canada, Denmark, France, Italy, Iceland, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, the UK. Always very, very impressive indeed, but as we can see already skirting the cloud base. The effort comprises the outer wing box and the flaps, which are built at Filton in Bristol, and 30% of the complete structure of the A400M, known as the Atlas in Royal Air Force service, is made up of composites, and that's more than any other comparably sized military aircraft. Aircraft procured or on order as things stand. The French Air Force got the first operational A400Ms in 20... That's 3 knots there on that slow pass. Yeah, a very interesting fact about this aircraft is that it's designed to be its most efficient whilst flying with the fuselage 7 degrees nose up. That's actually the optimum angle for delivery of palletized loads out of the back of the aircraft. And if you look at the aircraft when it's on the ground, you'll see that the engines are actually counted down at 7 degrees to optimize the thrust line of the aircraft whilst it's in the cruise. And talking of dropping loads, there was a new record set last November by an RAF Atlas when it dropped to 23 tons. Great importance in the tactical role. Today with the cloud base energy is no opportunity to do that. By 2 of the Airbus test pilots, one from Spain, the other a Swiss, Eduardo Curiel, the Spaniard, and the Swiss, Gary Clearsbu, who has long been involved in demonstrating products of what's now the Airbus group at Air Display. He's regularly flown the Eurofighter Typhoon as demonstrations at trade shows, and Gary doing his first A400M. If you look now to your left, in run, the 3 Belgian Air Component F-16s, 2 of them in D-Day markings. Flying against the Belgian F-16s in the late 80s. Later going through a very challenging 8-point hesitation roll. Yes, that midlife upgrade that took place during the 1990s has helped keep the older F-16s relevant, and as Mark was saying, the Belgian and other European A and B model F-16s, anything up to 40 years old in terms of when they were built. Somewhere in the region.
I'm really happy to be able to fly in front of this amazing crowd. This is my first gas control, flying very low speed, at 110 knots. The next time you will finish, I will be in a barrel, no speed show, and then I hope you're gonna have a good day. See you, bye bye.
On his slow pass. And in NATO's Baltic Air Policing Initiative, the ground. A very good demonstration there of aerodynamic braking on the runway. So slowing the aircraft down by using a high alpha and compressing the air. And we'll be seeing Vader back in the air later in the F-16.
Thank you, Ben. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Renaud Quirin, Commanding Officer, Director of the French Air Force.
By the way, let me remind you that the scavenger is also the name we give to the oak that you see on your epaulets and cap just above our ranks. It's a distinctive sign of our French Air Force.
On your right, the patrol is now led by the Captain Cyril Touzé. He's the first Rafale pilot who has integrated the Patrioulle de France. He has more than 3,000 hours of flight. Days a week to deal with any situation. situation.
Thank you very much to Renault and on their way into land. And very shortly it'll be on to our next item. Display from the United States Air Force. And of course, without the US Air Force, we wouldn't be able to stage the show here at RAFF. And so our thanks to
branches of the armed forces and their families who are so bravely fighting today's joint fights. We would also like to remember our wounded warriors and veterans in attendance, and those who have given their lives defending these great nations.
continue to ensure that the unique contributions of air power will endure long into the future. In the past year alone, the United States Air Force has flown over 6...
And Captain Thomas Giftos, who has 2,000 flight hours with the aircraft. During the show, he will fly with speeds up to 300 miles per hour and altitudes up to 3,000 feet above ground. At the show center, he will execute the opening demonstration maneuver, the fish hook. Flying from your right, the Tango 6 aircraft executes a horizontal 4-point rotation. The pilot continues with a reverse Cuban 8, a steep 60-degree climb. Then he rolls the aircraft, dives to increase his speed and fly over the show center to position himself for the next maneuver, the Texas Sidewinder. Watch the aircraft initially flying away from us to reverse towards us by pulling 5 Gs. He reverses again and continues climbing. The pilot banks the aircraft to 90 degrees towards us and continues to fly in front of the show center. Our next maneuver is the inverted flight. From your right, the Tango 6 aircraft in the inverted flight. At this point, the pilot is experiencing negative Gs to maintain the Tango 6 on a steady course and altitude. This aircraft requiring 1,000 feet for the flat show and 3,000 feet for the medium show. But his aircraft, as you will have seen, has the tiger markings on it from the recent NATO Tiger Meet. It's actually roughly the Shuffle 11. That's the Swiss Air Force unit.
maximum radius. 360-degree turn and a very, very hard pull back on the stick and push her. Again going into a 30-knot headwind, so his speed over the ground is about 80 knots or about 90 miles per hour. That is a huge angle of attack. You can see the aircraft is flying level and he is basically holding the top alpha with the stick and modulating the power to maintain the aircraft level at 200 feet. Where it starts to get difficult to keep up with the ribbon diagram to work out what's coming next. We're expecting a topside passes, so get your cameras ready. On the left.
Watchkeeper unmanned aircraft is being demonstrated by a 4-7 requirement of the Royal Artillery. Today and tomorrow they will be performing deployment exercises where you will be able to see how the aircraft is unboxed and prepared for.
You see the aircraft beginning to decelerate and convert to VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing mode. Climb away there to about 500 feet, and there's the transition to aircraft mode again. Those rotors tilting forwards and the speed increasing. Critical thing with that is the timing, the phasing. At the beginning it's rotor-borne flight, so it's the rotors that are providing 100% of the lift. And then there's a transition period to what you see now, where the wings are providing 100% of the lift. So the whole transition takes about 15 seconds or so as the aircraft accelerates to its minimum flying speed. From a troops perspective, it's the wide speed range that is the key advantage of this aircraft over a standard rotary aircraft. Thank you, Sam. Final pass before departure for the Osprey.
other aircraft of its generation, such as the Eurofighter Typhoon and the Dassault Rafale, but like the earlier F-16 that we saw at the start of the programme, this is a single-engined aircraft, a single Volvo Aero RM12 engine. Changing roll rates, one illustration of the aircraft's excellent manoeuvrability. Multi-role, very capable in not just the air-to-air and air-to-ground, but also the reconnaissance and anti-shipping strike roles, and to have a high degree of adaptability like its predecessors, the Saab 35 Draken and 37 Viggen. Had to be easy to maintain in the sort of extreme conditions that can sometimes be experienced in Sweden, and have those short field capabilities. Also, it was designed to be very flexible. It can literally be switched at the push.
70 knots or about 80 miles per hour.
If you look carefully, you can actually see the canard of the aircraft moving. The canard of the aircraft fly by wire, constantly directly the aircraft. Slow roll proceeded. Very nice 4-point hesitation roll down the line there. The aircraft being flown by Major Peter Falian, call sign Starbutt, who's been displaying at the Air Tattoo for many years. He's an instructor on F7 wing. conceived the MiG-21 as was a lightweight, simple fighter, but one with very high outright performance, even if that came at the expense of its weapons capability, of its endurance, and of its airfield performance. The prototypes from 1954 onwards had a variety of configurations. They settled on the Delta wing, and the first series production MiG-21s, as Mark said, took to the air in 1956, and the aircraft was given the NATO codename Fishbed. And it then started to go into service in large numbers.
And what a hugely successful design, with around about 11,000
in China.
I think although unit cost...
In spite of that, much feared in its heyday, MiG-21 scored many successes against US Air Force aircraft in North Vietnamese hands, and in the India-Pakistan conflict of 1971, Indian MiG-21s claimed 8 aerial kills, 4 of them against another of this aircraft's Western contemporaries, the Lockheed F-104 Starfighter. Of course, it's somewhat outclassed nowadays, even in upgraded form, but it's still been used in far more recent conflicts. MiG-21s have been active in both the Syrian and Libyan civil wars, and in fact examples have been shot down in both. Romania has operated MiG-21s since 1962, when it received its first MiG-21 F-13 models. Its last new deliveries were in 1982, and it was 10 years after that that a huge upgrade effort started. Western weapons. There were originally 3 versions: Lancer A for air to ground, Lancer B, the 2-seat trainer,
October this year. That distinct noise you'll hear throughout the display is the up-rated Garrett TPE turboprop engine fitted. Is supported by Babcock International Group, who provide engineering and ground support to the RAF Tucano fleet at its home at RAF Linton-on-Ouse in Yorkshire. And the team's thanks go out to them for helping us to make this display possible. Keeping an eye out to your right-hand side, Liam's running back towards the crowd, and he's going to brake back onto his display line. This
year's Tucano display pilot Liam Matthews is known as a skimmy qualified flying instructor at Linton on Ouse, meaning he... The team would like to thank a few companies for their support this year. A special thanks go out to Breitling, The Tucano, now at the end of its service, has served 30 years with the #1 flying training school, the oldest military flying school in the world. As it finishes its final year of service, the teachers the handling skills required to appreciate the complexities involved when dynamically flying an aircraft. He's going to fly the aircraft in a high G turn, pulling 4.5 G. As Liam comes round and passes back in front of you, he'll be pushed into his seat with the force of nearly half a ton. This high G turn is another example of all manoeuvres taught to students at basic fast jet flying training. And teaching students manoeuvres like these enables them to appreciate how to fly an aircraft to its maximum performance. Liam joined the Royal Air Force directly from university, and I joined the Royal Navy after my A-level studies. Now, fairly early on in both our military careers. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been a pleasure to talk to you today, and I hope you've enjoyed watching the display as much as Liam has enjoyed flying it for you. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day here at RIAT.
check the weather. A quick salute to the crowd with a wing flash. And after this rectangle with a aileron roll at every side, the T346 will climb to the right hand side of the crowd, performing a too high negative output. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a circle drawn in the sky at the best turn rate at which we can appreciate a custom turn at the max performance of the aircraft. In this moment, the pilot is sustaining a force of about 6 Gs. and the pilot is performing a particular compensation in which tight breath and muscle help him overcome this force. And now up he goes for another high alpha roll. Now we'll see him entering directly into a mid-radius turn in order to draw a very tight circle and exit with multiple with his T346. Let's salute him.
Followed by 4 F-16 Fighting Falcons, a mainstay of the NATO alliance at Florens, and 313 Squadron of the Royal Netherlands Air Force at Volkel. After them, the German Luftwaffe's contribution, a single Eurofighter EF-2000 from Tacticius. And then a very rare sight in a British flying display, the French Air Force Boeing KC-135R Stratotanker from Groupe de Ravitaillement en Vol 291 Bretagne at Istres in the hands of Capitaine Benoit Jägel. And bringing up the rear as the final element, 3 F-15E Strike Eagles of the US Air Force. Tattoo, as always. It's in the hands of Flight Lieutenant Jim Peterson. In his second year as the Typhoon display pilot, he and his aircraft from number 29 Squadron at RAF Coningsby in Lincolnshire, the operational conversion unit for the Typhoon force. Operation Elemi over Libya.
Centurion transferred the Tornado GR4 capability to the Typhoon to ensure that no capability gap existed in that transition. It started with paveway 4 onto all tranches of Typhoon, as well as Meteor, Storm Shadow and Brimstone missiles.
Upgraded overnight from one standard to the next, the latest standard, while the aircraft were on deployment to RAF Akrotiri in Cyprus for Operation Shader. So, completing his sequence, Flight Lieutenant Jim Peterson with the Eurofighter Typhoon FGR-4. Well, 99, and the NATO-led K4, the Kosovo force, is still deployed there for peacekeeping. And then the 3 RAF Typhoons on the break. With Commander Jim Lee, the officer commanding number 2 Army Cooperation Squadron leading them. With him in the formation, Squadron Leader Glyn Williams. Danish aircraft in the lead, in the hands of Captain Niels Andersen. The Norwegian example,
or a formation of fast jets onto the ground. It involves running into the dead side of the runway. Part of the manoeuvre is the engine is brought to idle, the air brakes are put out as the aircraft is pulled onto a maximum.
Nice to see some historic squadron codes on the tail of one of those Typhoons, WSJ, reminder of the wartime codes worn by the Lancasters of number 9. They began a 4-month start of May this year, taking over from the Luftwaffe EF-2000s, and indeed it's the Luftwaffe Typhoon that we... So that completes the NATO 70 fly past here at RIAT 2019. That, our major historical... Airborne.
maneuver of our program, the green, white and red giant triangle configuration at this moment at 4,000 feet solo. Let's go up, addressed to his swim man by the voice of Pony One, and this will be the great separation of the cardioid. 5 aircraft to the left, 4 to the right. Now prepare your cameras and don't miss the opportunity to take the best picture of the first amazing crossing. 3, 2, 1, shot! Amazing crossing, and then last. Let's count with him. 1, night flight, 2, inverted, 3, night flight again. The formation rolls as a single big transport aircraft indication by the lead about total energy in terms of speed and height at the top of this baller roll alternation. Solo, main formation flight, roll at the display center and again inverted. Disproving technical features of our MP339, an aircraft able to sustain upside down flight for up to 35 seconds. Pull up and green, white and red with voltage 1, roll, and then Apollo 3, 1, 3. Apollo goes from the left, Solo comes with his series of rolls. 350 knots at the end. The heart of Frecce Tricollori, and now another amazing crossing. 3, 2, 1, shot! This was the amazing crossing. He draws a perfect circle by the white smoke, then an inversion, and then negative pull out. -3 Gs for an absolute value difference of about 10 Gs. It's a slow roll. High scale maneuver exalting pilot capability of coordinating flight controls, clutch and rudder pedals to maintain aircraft height perfectly uniform. Aircraft of the main group this time are right-handed roll performed in a configuration increasing considerably the difficulty of execution of this maneuver. The formation rotates gently around this ASIC as a single giant alien. To the left, this negative Schneider. Take a look at the white helmet of the pilot while he is being literally pushed out of the cockpit by a force strong about 3 times his weight. But once again, 5 aircraft to the right, 4 to the left, prepare. Again, your cameras for the next amazing crossing. To 0 on his anemometer continues climbing, while his altimeter pointer slowly stops and inverts his movement. An instant floating in the air and then down inside his own smokes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the tail slide of solo pilot of Frecce Tricollori. White and red of the Italian flag during this double roll. And then right turn for the main formation.
tricolor belly during this low speed right Schneider turn with aero brake extended. .82 meters repertory synthesis of skill handed down from pilot to pilot and technical features of the MB339. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the spectacular Crazy Flight. Ciao, grazie.
Ricardo, thank you so much from all of us. We love having you and the team here. Our great pleasure as always. Star acts from Central and Eastern Europe, the Sukhoi Su-27, the flanker of the Ukrainian Air Force, and then our finale.
To do DVD and Blu-ray. They've got 6 cameras all around the showground, and most displays are also carrying onboard GoPro cameras. Now you can.
And there, the second one into the air. An aircraft.
Very neat Piers aileron roll there, out onto the 45-degree.
Dock ship the Juan Carlos I.
We're into max performance turn to the left. Aircraft entering at about 400 knots, not using much more than about 4G, but a good contrast here to some of the high-performance aircraft that we have seen today and we'll see later on that extensively go around that 360-degree turn, very, very close to their maximum G of 9. So you can see how different the radius of turn actually is. That manoeuvre flown at about 90% RPM, and you can see as the engine's brought up to full power.
here with the newer EAV 8B models. Very good to have them back. So that concludes the Spanish Navy contribution to the flying display, and another, of course, of the NATO nations Navy used to. So here they come in from the left-hand side for the first of the passes, with the red arrows at the front, the Patrioulle de France behind, about to put the colour on. The red arrows leading the Patriouille de France, the smoke about to come on for the second Concorde pass.
And 19, arrows!
Easy off. Now. Holding.
Typhoon, he's instructed on the Hawk, and he's in his second year as the team leader. Red One has called the aircraft into short diamond, the smoke about to come on. On the right of Red One in short diamond is Red Two. Upside down at 2,500 feet, the white smoke on as we roll Apollo. At the back of the formation on the right is Red 4, another new pilot for 2019. Red 4 is Flight Lieutenant Gregor Oxton. They run in from the left for the Concorde bend.
Rolling out. Circle. Go. Coming left. Now. Holding the right. Now. Okay.
On the left. In from the left-hand side is Phoenix, the coloured smoke about to come on. The Lancaster, of course, not noted for its aerobatic capabilities, but it's reputed that the famous test pilot Alex Henshaw rolled the Lancaster numerous times when testing them at Castle Bromwich during the war. 8 and 9 rolling around the smoke of the other aircraft. Red One about to bend the formation to the left, changing smoke colour as they go. It's Tornado. Your eyes on red 6 and 7, staying low with the red and blue smoke on, changing to white, no pass.
in the goose.
What? A little bit right. Now.
Red 9 is Flight Lieutenant Dan Lowe's. Dan formerly flew the Typhoon and was a weapons instructor. He's in his third and final year on the team. As Red 1 leads Enid off to the left-hand side with the in the vortex. Up through the middle of the vortex is Red 8's Flight Lieutenant Chris Lyndon Smith. Chris is Professor.
Check, roll.
Smoke coming back on as Red 1 gathers the formation together. Red 6 and 7 pulling 7G, the coloured smoke on. As they cross at the back, the smoke will change colour, leaving a red and blue half of the circle. Well, the Red Arrows today would like to thank their wives and partners for their continued support throughout the season and the rest of the year, and would like to say hello to Susie, Nick, Leanne, Amelia, Hilary, Vic, Samara, Fee, Emma and Teresa. And we'll roll around their smoke in the corkscrew. Aboard calls Red 9 as 8 and 9 roll around the smoke of 6 and 7. Rollbacks. Splitting in the spectacular Jippo break. Keep your eyes on Red 6 and 7 with the coloured smoke changing to white as they prepare for the last of their opposition manoeuvres for the spectacular Vixen break. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching the Red Arrows!
Close air support, suppression of enemy air defences, and offensive and defensive counter-air missions.
And here we see it with the under fuselage weapons bay open. aircraft's nose being pulled very sharply up. Amy, the other at Risala. In times of crisis, they can also fly off highway strips. Yes, and eyes or a big long. Designed primarily for air superiority missions and as a direct competitor to the F-14 and F-15, it was part of a system of capabilities that included and was complemented by the lighter and more agile MiG-29. Soviet Air Force service in 1985. The West got its first look at one of these aircraft in September 1987 when a Soviet Air Force flanker collided with a Royal Norwegian Air Force P-3 Orion patrol aircraft over the Barents Sea. Primary roles when it came into service were defensive counter-air, defending the motherland against bombers such as the B-1B and the B-52, plus offensive counter-air, escorting Soviet heavy bombers on their bombing missions such as the Backfire, the Bear and the Blackjack. low speed characteristics. And it all gives the pilot a wide range of options about when to take a missile stop. And the Su-35, giving a frontal appearance very, very similar to the F-111. But for now, in for his slow speed, high angle of attack pass. Here, and it was in one of their two-seaters that the then Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko flew during 2015. The work is done locally at the Zaporozhye State Air Repair Plant, and the upgraded absolutely fantastic display. But now, just one act remains at this year's Royal International Air Task. And your commentator for their display is Alex Vasquier. Thank you very much, Ben. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Here is, ladies and gentlemen, Fairford in front of you, the demonstration of the Breitlinger Team 2019. The first part of our demonstration is called Ribbon.
part of the demonstration, the 6th aircraft will fly in an elegant palette with smooth loops, barrel. The 6 aircraft are flying at 3 meters from each other. The speed is from 200 to 600 kilometers per hour. Now they are in Avenger formation. Ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine doing this flight in the back seat of our L-39? We can offer you the opportunity to experience the flight in the back seat of our L-39. You can find more information on ApacheAviation.com. This aircraft is able to fly at 900 kilometers per hour and is able to sustain 8 Gs. And more Gs. From the right, fall cross with barrel roll. The speed of the jet was about... Now it's time for solo, the number 4. Have incorporated into their displays. Here from your left. Airport, get ready. It's a low speed flyby. Now, after this airport in front of you, the Pratt Inter Team 2019 in its Banana Pass.